you could receive natural life. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Now listen to me. Listen, okay? Now there are two things that can happen in this hearing. All right? After I view all of the testimony, I can do one of two things. I can grant a new trial for Mr. Bashara, or I can deny it. Now if I deny it, and you take that stand, do you understand, irrespective of my outcome, that you still will be punished? Do you understand that potentially?
Yes.
And if I grant it, he will get a new trial, but at the same time, you still will be subjected to being sentenced to up to natural life for just based on the words out of your mouth. Now you've done 17, the offer 17 years, and he's got what, 2 or 3 years good time?
Yes.
Which means that you got a potential out date in 15 years. Now that may seem like a long time, but in fact, it really isn't. And you want to take the stand today, understanding that Mr. Hollis represented you before when you sent the letter and then you recanted on that. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
Yes, you do. When Miss Reed was your lawyer. You remember that, don't you? When you came before the court and you said you wanted to withdraw your plea.
Yeah, I do regret that now.
Right? You sent me these letters. Oh, I want to withdraw my plea. Then at the last minute you changed your mind. You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this isn't a game. Now before the last time, I let you withdraw your plea and kept it moving and did your time. This time, there are no guarantees that attach this. I have no control over what the prosecutor's office can do. Do you understand that?
That's correct.
And despite that, you still want to take the stand?
Yes, ma'am.
Can attorneys approach? Mr. Gentz.
Yes, ma'am.
The court has just received some information regarding some statements that you made regarding a phone conversation. I am going to, and the basis of my decision is that I want you to understand the full implications of what you're doing. And when I just asked you a minute ago about you withdrawing your plea, there seemed to be some hesitation or lack of memory on your part until I continued to ask you about it, which then you indicated, oh yes, I remember. But initially you had no recall of. I do know that there is a issue of limitation regarding his education And I just want to make sure that I do everything in my will possible to understand, to let him understand the implications of what in fact he's going to do. And so what I am going to do is something that I normally do for very young defendants on occasion, but I believe that because of the lack of understanding and capacity, because it was just demonstrated right before me. Not that there's an issue of competency, but that you have understand the full implications of what you're doing. I've been notified that we have a representative here, your brother's here. And I'm going to allow my deputy to take you into the jury room so that there can be a discussion regarding, I believe, some phone calls. And once you come out, let me tell you this, right? Whatever decision you make, you gonna live with. Court's in recess for 15 minutes.
Judge, can I make a request that since Mr. Gentz is my client,
That you also be, obviously.
be present? Thank you.
You be present, the deputies and the brother.
Very well.
Very good. Come on. Mr. Brother. We don't need another deputy in the courtroom. Have you heard them? Can you, wait a minute, hold on for a minute, hold on, just 1 second. We need you to set up whatever needs to be set up. Mr. Muscat?
What?
Set up whatever needs to be set up. Okay.
Judge, can we just?
Right. I got that. The court is going to order, back on the record, I'm gonna make an order that the prospective interview, that you not show the face of Mr. Gentz's brother. We're in fact going to, I'm gonna allow you to be here, but I want you to cut the cameras off and the phones. Once the interview process is over with, I then will bring Mr. Gentz back out, where the court will give you full disclosure at that point of Mr. Gentz and his decision. But at this time, I am going to order, and I'm going to request from you all that you not show Mr. Gentz's brother's face, please. Thank you so much. Of course, it's going to be in recess at 3 o'clock.
Your Honor, if, because we have live, do you mind if we like just face the cameras, turn the audio off? But
No problem. I
Okay,
just don't want you to show his
Okay,
face.
thank
That's
you.
it. And no accidents either.
Thank you. No
All right,
problem.
thanks. what you got here today, sir?
Here on behalf of Leonard Accardo, a witness who was subpoenaed at 8:45 a.m. this morning, Your Honor.
Well, you know what?
Your Honor, we told him last time that those people didn't have to come. We told
No,
him that
they
last
didn't.
time.
They said Mr. Accardo had to come. They said that Mr. Bartonelli's wife did not have to come.
Okay, very good.
I would like him to be discharged, Your Honor.
He never said anything. I told him he didn't have to come. He doesn't have to be here.
That's a misstatement, but we'll accept it,
Well-
so long as he's discharged.
Okay, just let me go on the record properly, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Case number 13-8320, People versus Robert Bashara.
Appearances for the record.
Lisa Lindsay on behalf of the state of Michigan.
Good afternoon, John Boyd Hall for the people. Ronald Ambrose appearing on behalf of Robert Bashara.
Okay, there was Mr. Moffitt, would you please stand up and state your, step forward to the court?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David L. Moffitt on behalf of the witness, Leonard Accardo, subpoenaed to be here at 8:45 a.m. at the previous hearing, and then it was continued to this hearing.
Okay, very good. And the court, you indicated that you were not notified to be here at 1:30, and that was an error on my part because I had another commitment. However, Mr. Accardo, and he, what witness is that? Mr.
He
Accardo?
is the private detective for Carlo Bartonelli, the paralegal who drew the affidavit. He did actually come at 8:45 this morning, Your Honor.
Very good. So at this time, I'm going to discharge him. You have any objection, Madam?
None, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let's bring Joe up. Where's his lawyer? Mr. Sahab. Do we have a number for him, Captain?
Yeah, I can text him. I got it last week.
We probably got this one.
I'll text you.
Hi, Mr. Howard, we looking for you in the courtroom. He's up here. All right, okay. Yeah, he's here. All right. Okay. He was looking for his client.
Who, Mr. Jackson?
He,
Ms. Pine's been in all day.
he said you had him on board, but get on his way out.
He got lost. Huh? said, what you looking for Mr. Gentz?
I
He's in
was.
here all the time.
I was. He wasn't there.
Uh-oh. All right, back on the record. Mr. Gentz, you had an opportunity to speak with your brother
Yes, ma'am.
and your lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's your decision?
Take the stand.
And testify pursuant to your affidavit? What you said in the affidavit is true? That's what you're gonna talk about? Everything that we talked about? You understand that if you take the stand, then you can be questioned on everything. Do you understand that?
Wait 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
No. That's a construct.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the true self you got?
I hope you do. I do.
You may take the stand at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, just a few things I'd like to play in the record. While Mr. Gentz and his brother were in the jury room discussing this, there were 2 phone calls that were presented to them to listen to. One call was from October 29th, 2015, that's labeled as phone call 912. There was 2 snippets that were played for them that started at 3 minutes and 13 seconds to 3 minutes and 50 seconds, also 4 minutes and 27 seconds to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. The second phone call was on March 26, 2016. That's a phone call that is labeled as 810, and there was a snippet that was played for that, which was 11 minutes and 21 seconds to 13 minutes. So that's the first thing, Your Honor. The second thing, Your Honor, is
Go ahead.
that I'm fearful that with Mr. Gentz's testimony that it be limited only to what is in the affidavit and not get into some of the other matters which I'm fearful of as far as things he did years ago that were claimed as to there were other, when we first started this hearing, there were a number of issues that were raised by the defense as far as Mr. Gentz abusing children and hitting children, so on and so forth. I don't think that's the purpose of what we're here for. We're here only for the affidavit.
I believe it was that he smacked a boy because he got on his grass or something, the neighbor or something to that degree.
No,
Exactly.
I never did anything.
Be quiet. Now, you can't be talking up there. You gotta let me do the talking right now.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So, guys, I'm just asking for the parameters of Mr. Gentz's testimony to be what's contained in the affidavit and the crime that occurred in this particular case.
Very good. I don't believe, first of all, the issue for the court to determine is whether or not this is newly discovered evidence and or is there evidence presented in the motion for new trial that would warrant a granting of a new trial. And at this time, the court, because the court is hearing this evidence, the court is going to limit itself to the information that was contained in the affidavit. Obviously, I will allow it from the time that he was introduced to Mr. Bashara by Mr. Tabato up until the incident. I do think that is relevant, but anything that occurred beforehand, any allegations of such are not relevant. So I'm going to limit myself to just that span. I do think that it would at least give context to what, in fact, the statements that he made in the affidavit, how they came about, and the circumstances in which they were given. Mr. Gentz, pull that microphone close to you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Pull it close to your mouth, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Say your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Joseph John Gentz.
Very good. You may proceed.
Mr. Gentz, what's your date of birth?
1/12/64.
And prior to being transported into the Wayne County jail,
You were where? Where were you? You were at Bellamy Creek Correctional Facility?
That's correct.
And prior to that, you were at Macomb Correctional Facility?
That's correct.
All right. Did you happen to know a person there by the name of Carlo Varcinelli?
I know of him, yes.
Did you ask Mr. Varcinelli to do anything for you?
No.
Did you ask him to prepare any type of document for you?
No.
Did you sign any document?
Yeah.
All right. And did you take that document to a notary?
Yeah, but yes.
Okay. And how long before you took it to the notary did you have it in your possession?
Didn't have it very long. Maybe 2 minutes at the most.
All right. You made some statements in here about the police had contacted you initially with regard to the murder of Jane Bashara.
Miss Lindsay, are you sure you don't need any other witnesses to be excused in this hearing?
The people are positive that we have if we needed witnesses, the witnesses to hear is not going to be one of the witnesses that will be called.
Okay, very good. That's all I wanted to know. Go ahead.
All right. Can I approach the witness with the document?
Go ahead. Have it marked.
I'm showing you what appears to be an affidavit. And I just wanted to see if that's your signature on the bottom there.
That's mine.
Okay. And this was, you had signed that while you were at the Macomb Correctional Facility?
That's correct.
And who prepared that document? Do you know who prepared it?
What, this?
Yes.
This is garbage.
Do you,
Oh, wait, hold on. Why you say that's garbage?
Because this, I didn't do it. All I did was give him my transcripts.
Wait a minute now, let's hold on. What do you mean your transcripts?
I give him my PSI.
You gave him your PSI?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
Yes, I gave him my PSI.
You see this pretty lady there? I know it's a whole bunch of pretty ladies, but she's got a microphone, something on her face. You see her?
Yes.
Everything that you say, she's taking down. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So I need you to say yes or no, not
Okay.
Okay. So now let's back up a little bit. You gave you gave somebody the PSI. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Who was it that you gave the PSI?
I gave it to Carlos.
To Carlos?
Mm-hmm.
Or yes or no?
Yes.
Was it Carlos or Carlos? And what did you do when you gave it to Carlos?
I gave him my PSI, and then he took it and did whatever he did. I mean, I don't know what he did. All I know is I signed this, didn't read it, didn't do nothing, and I handed it back to him.
Very good. Okay, so let me go over that a little bit, because you said some stuff a little bit too fast. How many pages was your PSI? Was it a lot of pages, a little bit?
My PSI wasn't that big.
Okay, so
It was only about 20, maybe 30 pages,
okay, so
give or take.
show me. Excuse me. Demonstrate with what you did with Deputy Vitti. Step down, Deputy Vitti. What did you do with Carlos with your PSI? If that yellow paper's the PSI, show me what you did.
I said, here, That's
That's it.
That's it.
And then he took it.
And he took it. And he came up with this. I don't,
And that's the affidavit. Is
that's
that correct?
that's correct.
Thank you. And so, did you read it?
Nope.
Do you read good?
Yeah, I know how to read.
Read that.
I, John Joseph Gentz, which is wrong, do honorably swear the permanence of jury presented to MCLE, which I don't understand, that I promise a full common of mental abuse to assist on my free will to the truth considering the case against Mr. Bashara, that I was born on January 12, 1964, and I was 49 years old at the time of the evidence involving the murder of Jane Bashara, who resides at 552 Medlin Scott in Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan.
That's it? Oh, but that's all you said? Is that all that's there?
No, there's more. You want me to read the whole thing?
The whole thing.
The whole thing? Why do you want me to read the whole thing?
Who got the robe on in here?
At the irrelevant to Miss Jane Bashara. All right, I already said Grosse Pointe. Jane Bashara's death, I was a resident in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan, that on January 30th, 2012, officers come from the Grosse Pointe Police Department, which is the wrong date. Anyways, contact me and ask if I would consider to an interview, and I did. During the scheduled interview, I confessed the officers that I was mad at Mr. Bashara, which is the lie, because this is a lie. You want me to read this? This whole thing is a lie.
What's a lie? Tell me what's a lie.
Okay, I'll tell you what's a lie. First of all, the Grosse Pointe Police Department come knocking on my door on the 20th.
I want to know them words, what's a lie. What's words you say is lies? Tell me the words you say that are lies.
Man.
Yep.
Okay, my name's wrong. That's a lie.
Your name ain't Joe Gentz?
It says on here, John Joseph.
That's not your name?
No,
What's your name?
John Joseph. I mean, Joseph John. Sorry about that.
Okay. And what else? Okay.
I was born, okay, that's the truth. This January 30th is a lie.
Who is January 30th?
It says that on January 30th, 2012. It wasn't January 30th that came knocking on my door.
What was that?
It was the 28th.
Okay. And what else?
And they had me for 4 days.
You didn't read none of that about no
No, I
flag.
don't know.
I'm saying what you read was a lie. What you just read. Tell me what's a lie. Your name is wrong. The date is wrong. What else is a lie that you just read?
Oh, well, the whole thing is wrong.
What?
I mean, if you want me to read the whole thing.
Tell me what's wrong.
Okay, like going into his house, Jane Bashara was there, so was Bob. I mean, honestly, they both were there.
But does it say that
Yes.
Bob was there in that paper you got?
Let's see.
That's what I want you to read it.
Okay, I read it.
Read it again to me.
That on January 30th, 2012, from the Grosse Pointe Police Department, contacted me and asked if I would continue our interview.
Stop doing that, letting your voice drop. I can't hear you, I'm old.
I did. During the second interview, I confessed to the officers that I was mad at Mr. Bashara, which I was not mad at Mr. Bashara.
So that's not the truth?
No.
All right. What else?
You refused to pay me for 2 jobs I performed, which is a lie. I fixed a pipe, which I couldn't fix that pipe. It's a lie. I mean, it's the truth and it's a lie. So I broke into his house, which is a lie.
You didn't break in his house?
No, ma'am.
Okay, what else is a lie? Read it.
But during the investigation.
I can't hear you.
But I'm reading my way.
No, I need you to read the right way so I can hear it.
I hate reading that way.
Okay, would you do it for me?
Judge, at some point, can we make a record that some of the words that he's saying are not on this, he's reading the words incorrectly?
Okay, see, I told you I ain't that good.
Okay, now
Promise
listen,
to help.
Listen, Mr. Gentz, let me tell you something, okay? You're going to read it, and you're going to read it correctly, and you're going to read it out loud.
I can't read it. I don't know all the words right.
This say big word skip.
Okay, big word skip. Okay.
Now read it from the top.
Oh, man. From the top, it says the United States of America.
Oh, not all that.
Well,
I'm talking about when you start on January. I, Joseph John.
Oh, okay, I see that. I, Joseph John Gentz, do honorably swear under the protection of presented to MC, whatever that number is. I have no clue what the numbers are. It's 602182 and 28 USC and dash whatever 1746 that the statements hearing is the active are true to the best of my knowledge and behalf of the state as follows. Okay, it says 1, okay, on here, that I promise full command of mental abilities to assist on my free will the truth, considering the case against Mr. Bashara, which is false. That's a lie. All right. 2, that I was born on January 12, 1964, which is true, and I was 49 years old. I don't know. I'm 52 now, maybe at that time.
So you don't know how old you were at that time? Yes or no?
No, I don't. I'm 52 now, so I don't know.
How old you were? Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Read it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. The events involving the murder of Mrs. Jane Bashara was released. I passed that word. At the time of at 526 Middlesex in Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan, at the residential of to Mrs. Jane Bashara's death. I was a resident of Grosse Pointe Park, which is I was. That on January 30th, 2012, which is a lie, the officers of Grosse Pointe Police Department contacted me, which it was on the 28th, and asked if I would consider to a interview, and did. During the second interview, I confessed to the officers that I was mad at Mr. Bashara, which is a lie, because I refused to pay me for 2 jobs I performed, i.e., which I don't understand. Bashara, that's what it says, not in his house, which is a lie. So I broke into his home, walked into the garage, and Miss Jane Bashara caught me, and I lost control. No, that's a lie. During the interview, the officers state their boss, business, whatever that word is, B-A, I got boss.
Keep going.
Promised to help me out to get a lesser sentence if I can complete with them, cooperate with them, and agree to their vision of what happened, which was not the truth. What their written statements, whatever I pass on that one. I agree if they would allow me to go home and take care of a few personal things.
Keep reading.
Okay. 5, on January 31st, 2012, I walked into the Grosse Pointe Police Department. I don't know if that's true, and I know I walked in there, but I think it was the 30th or something. I turned myself in. Chief David Holler and Sergeant
Holler, Mr. Holler. You talking about that man, or is that Hiller?
Hiller.
Okay.
Chief David Hiller. Okay, thank you. And Sergeant Redizio from Grosse Pointe Police Department. All right. During drilling me for 3 days, coaching me about what I said, testified against Mr. Bashara. No, they.
What?
Yes. Okay.
Go back.
Go back. Okay, on January 31st, I walked into the Grosse Pointe Police Department and turned myself in and agreed. Chief David Holler.
Holler.
It's Hiller.
Heller.
Hiller, okay. And Sergeant Dizio. During drilling me for 3 days, coaching me about what I should testify against Mr. Bashara, and at one point I asked them why, when, in fact, I did not ask them why, when, or fact. I alone did it. No, I did not do it alone. Chief Holler started, he going to help you and will get a lesser sentence. Well, that's a lie. I mean, they promised me stuff, but that's not what it's. Okay, if you help us get Robert Bashara, Sergeant Dizio, then stated he want him, not you, which is true. That's what they told me. I asked them both what sentence, and Chief Holler stated, I spoke to the prosecutor and cannot promise you 5 years sentence, both. The prosecutor was aware and agreed with them. It was then that I agreed to perjure myself. Okay, I don't think so. Once I agreed to Mr. Robert Bashara, I asked them if they would help me get commissary, and they did. I agreed, asked Sergeant Dizio why they wanted Robert Bashara, and he stated he have been offered that mother effer blank for a long time. It was after, but I don't know how true that is. I got no clue. On January 24th, 2004, I helped myself into Robert Bashara's home, which is a lie. Around 7. That's a lie, because I know he guaranteed he was not.
Keep your voice up. Reread it, that part, reread it. Your voice trail, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, around 7 p.m., because I know he agreed is not home at the time. Guaranteed he was not at home at that time, which is a lie. I got into the garage and I began searching for something of equal or more value, which is a lie. The money Mr. Bashara owed me, which is Miss Maine Bashara walked into the garage, which that's the truth. Bob was there. asked me, wow, man, this whole thing's a lot.
I said read it.
I am reading. Walked towards her and put my hands around her neck, and she began struggling with me. I had her with one hand and picked an object and hit her on the head. No, that's a lie. She lost consciousness, which is a lie. She was figuring, so I placed both of my hands around her neck and squeezed her neck until she no longer moved. That's a lie. I then placed her body inside the rear, which is of a black Mercedes-Benz. Drove to Detroit near Annmont. I think that's the name of the street. Annmont. Short of an alley. Left the car there with Jane Bashara's body in the back, which is true. I do that. That my testimony states against Mr. Bashara, Robert Bashara, was I don't know that word. I don't know that word, and I don't know that word. Pre-jury by Sergeant Dizio and Chief David Howler. Okay, I don't know. Number 10, that I have been requested prisoner CRV, which is Carlos, against the prejudice and confession, the truth, and revealed for both. I said that he will not help me to do anything illegal, and I swear to him I could further explain to him that Mr. Bashara was not even in his house when I killed his wife. That CRV, which is Carlos, asked me more than the times during the course of 3 weeks. Facts about the truth, and I asked him why he was repeating asking painfully the questions from the start, because
Speak up.
I don't know the word. To and know very well what to make sure you are not cooking a lie, because I want to be part. I don't want to be a part. I want to be a part of it, and I assist him, the police force, to, I don't know that word myself, and 12, that if I call to testify, I will do so to the facts against hearing this affidavit.
All right. Okay. Now, you may proceed.
Why did you sign this affidavit? What made you sign this piece of paper?
Talking to the microphone.
I'm mad.
Why are you mad, Mr. Gentz?
Okay.
Why were you mad when you
What-
signed that?
Why am I mad? Okay.
Why were you mad?
Okay, I get to that. Why am I mad? Number one, I was promised my safety. My safety was number one. I got assaulted 4 times. I got a busted hand. I had people putting stuff underneath my mattress like a shank. What is my life worth? Number one, I've been called a rat. Okay, what do they do with rats in prison? They kill you. All right?
Why did you sign the document?
I was mad. That's the reason why.
For all those things that you just said, that's
And more.
what?
my rights weren't, let's go with the Grosse Pointe Police Department, with that affidavit, which is the testimony that I gave to the Grosse Pointe Police Department, which they had me for 4 days. They didn't give me a lawyer. They did not give me they didn't read my Miranda rights.
So that's why you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, go ahead, next question.
Now, you said you gave Carlo Bartonelli your pre-sentence investigation report.
You said it was called a PSI.
PSI.
Okay. Your PSI didn't contain all of these facts in there, did it?
My PSI has things that I done. And what I said to the police department, if I'm not mistaken, what's in there.
Well, the affidavit, well, I'm not sure why you went to, you asked Carlo Bartonelli as the...
I didn't ask Carlos. Carlos came to me. He was bugging me.
He was
And,
bugging you?
yes.
Okay. And how was he bugging you?
He kept on asking certain questions, and I'm like, okay, fine. But when I got assaulted, like I said before,
What was he asking you? Carlo.
he was asking me I don't know what he was getting out of this.
What did he ask you?
He says, well, let me see he asked me if he could see my PSI, and I gave it to him. That's all I did. I gave it to him.
Wait, he was bugging you about you giving it to him?
Yes.
What did you say, bugging you? What do you mean?
I mean, he was coming to me all the time. I mean, I don't know how to describe it.
So he asked you a lot, many times?
Yeah, more than twice, maybe 3-4 times.
And he said, let me see your PSI?
Yeah.
And what'd you do?
I gave it to him. I said, here, you want to read it? Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know a Robert Hess?
Oh, who?
Robert Hess, who was also at Macomb Correctional Facility.
Do you know somebody named Robert Hess?
I don't know. If I seen his face, maybe.
Was he ever somebody with Carlo Bartonelli?
Don't know. There was a lot of people with Carlos. I don't know.
All right. I mean, you mentioned you had asked for an attorney on a number of occasions while being at the Grosse Pointe Park Police Department. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and I think you were pretty explicit on that. Would you say that you really wanted an attorney before any questioning of you? Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that you were first contacted by the police. You said January 28, 2012?
I'm pretty sure of it.
Okay. Now, at that point, can you tell us what happened at that contact with the police? They came and knocked on your door?
In the morning.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it was in the morning.
And what happened?
We did a little interview, and I walked out, and the next morning I turned myself. At night I had two people like Steve Vergona and Danny Finch with me at the Grosse Pointe Police Department. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Now, at that initial talk with the police, did you state your involvement with this murder at all?
Did you tell the police you was involved with killing Jane Bashara? Did you say that in the murder?
Yes, I did. That was at the first beginning of it. Yes, at 2 o'clock in the morning. I believe that we did do that.
Okay.
Okay. And then the next day, is it when you went to the police department, or a couple days after?
No. I stayed there.
Okay, So what you're
They
saying?
had me there for 4 days,
All right. I just want to make
interviewing me.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear on the facts of this case. You're saying on January 28, 2012, the police came and knocked on your door.
If I'm not mistaken, I know they came on my door. I think it was the 28th. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the 28th.
Okay. At that point, did they take you into custody?
No, they interviewed me. They took a swab. I gave them my DNA.
Okay. And did you stay at your home on that day?
No, I did not.
Where'd you go?
I was afraid for my life, if you want to know the truth.
Okay. And well, where'd you go?
I went to a friend's.
Okay. And who was that friend?
I stayed with a friend. I mean, does it matter?
Say his or her name.
Steve.
Steve Bergona?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did you stay with Steve Bergona?
A few days.
Okay. And what prompted you to walk into the Grosse Pointe Park Police Department?
Because I told Steve Vergona and Danny Finch, because they are pastors, and I figured I'd tell them what happened, what took place, and they said, okay, the best thing you can do is turn yourself in.
All right. Now, and so that's when you went to the police department.
It was in the morning, I know that. It was 2 o'clock in the morning.
And was Mr. Bergona and the pastor with you when you went to the police department?
That's correct.
Okay. And then you sit down for an interview with the police, is that
No,
correct?
not at that. No, they locked me up before. They locked me up behind. I didn't talk to anybody till the next day. I didn't talk to David, the chief of police at Grosse Pointe, and I didn't talk to Dizio till in the morning. It was like maybe around 8, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And at that point, you had requested an attorney before being interrogated, is that correct?
I asked for an attorney all the time. Yes,
Okay.
for 4 days straight.
Okay, and they didn't give you one, did they?
No,
Okay.
and then they read my Miranda rights.
Okay. Now, while you're at the police department, did they indicate to you who they wanted on this case? Who they wanted to get?
I told them exactly what happened. I gave them everything.
All right. And you were promised some things?
At the end, I was.
And what were you promised?
It was in the garage with Jane Bashara and Bob after he pulled the gun and told me to kill her. He said, I give you the ring and I give you $8,000 in a Cadillac.
I mean, he's telling you
Yes, he did say that.
in the
Who was he?
garage.
Who was-
Bob Bashara.
In the garage, he is saying, "I'll give you $8,000, a ring."
Well, they were arguing. I mean, if you want to go by into it, they were arguing.
Who is that?
Bob Bashara and Jane Bashara.
What were they arguing? What were they saying?
Jane Bashara told Bob to get all his shit out of the garage. His signs, his golf clubs, it went to Lockmore Country Club. That's what she said. She wants the shit out of Bob. I want your shit out and get it out now. I went over to the move boxes. Next thing I know, he pulls a gun on me and says, shut her up. They were arguing still. And he says, do it now. So I broke her neck. Yes, I be honest, I did do that. But meanwhile, after she was dead, he walks over, her top was open. He goes over to her and he says, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't mean it. And pulls her top back down.
how long was Robert Bashara there when?
He was there the whole time.
So, what time did you get there?
6.
You said 6 o'clock. Now, in your interview with the police, you said 7, right?
No, wrong. That was the wrong time. That was something else.
Okay, so you're saying that he got there at 6 o'clock.
He was there at 6 o'clock because he let me in the damn door.
All right, so he had been there at 6 o'clock, he let you in, and what you're saying is he's in the garage with Jane Bashara. Is that right?
He was there with Jane Bashara and me, yes.
Okay. Now, you're going over there to move boxes, you said?
Yeah. He threatened me. I had to be there at 6 o'clock. He goes, I want you at my house at 6 exactly. I was there. He let me in.
Wait a minute. You said he threatened you. What did he do? What did he say to you?
He says, you got to come over. I need your help. He blew up my phone.
What you mean he blew it up?
I mean, he blew it up. I mean, he called me every hour or every half hour. I don't know how many times he called me. There's a bunch.
And what was he saying? Would you answer the phone?
Sometimes I answered it, sometimes I didn't. I
But when
mean,
you
the
did
man,
answer the phone, what did you hear him say?
he said, I need you at my house.
And what'd you say?
I said, okay, I'll be there. We got to move these boxes, right? Yes. When I got there, Jane Bashara, when I got knocked on the door, Jane Bashara was in the kitchen with Bob at the time.
And you're saying at 6 o'clock this is all happening?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then he let me in the side door of his house. I mean, it's the front door and the side door is all together. I mean, it's off to the garage. There's only one way into the garage, besides the garage door, but the garage door is shut.
Okay.
He let me in a patio type deal. I mean, the foyer, whatever you want to call it. I walked in. He points to the garage, and he says, okay, I'll be right back. Let's go get her. I got to go get her. He comes back with her. That's when they got in the argument. She says, I want you to move all these boxes. She was showing me certain things on the shelf and everything that was around. And then they were arguing some more about the signs of whatever signs he had.
Signs? What are you talking about?
It's a
signs?
sign. It's some kind of, I don't know, a union sign or some kind of blue-white sign that looks like a wheel. Okay, I could describe that to you.
Yeah, tell me about that round wheel sign.
It was like in the front of the vehicle.
What did the sign look like?
It was white. It was blue. It had the white around it, and it had blue, and it had writing on it. It had writing on it.
You said it was a wheel?
It was like a wheel, like a ship wheel type. That's what I can describe it as.
Okay.
With the court's indulgence, we have a photograph for the court to see.
I'd like to see that.
I'd
Maybe
like
that
to
might be helpful. Lights?
I like to see that. I tell you if it's it.
Okay. Lights? Deputy Vitti?
It's just, it'll be fine, the projectors. I don't think you have to.
Just hit the video. Cut the light back on.
It's just warming up, Judge. It's just,
Oh. Cut the light down. I still can't see back. It's upside down.
The lights are hanging from the,
Oh.
I'd like to direct the court's attention down to the bottom.
Show us where the sign was.
The sign is sitting right there. You see it says royalty on it. It's white. It's blue. It's gold.
And it say royalty.
It says royal, whatever it says. Yeah, that's it. That's the sign she wanted out of there, and the golf clubs and some other stuff.
Okay.
The box is sitting right there too.
For the record, the witness is pointing to and identify what appears to say Rotary,
Rotary.
as well as some golf clubs. And can we tell me what, just propose exhibit, what exhibit that was, I'm sorry. For the record, please. For the record.
Judge Pat Muscat, on behalf of the people, for purposes of this record, its reference in our computer is DPD ETU DSC _0.
I don't care about that. It's going to be proposed exhibit.
13. I know. We have to just track it for this purpose, Judge. We'll mark it, give it an exhibit number as soon as we find out what the next exhibit number is. But that's the digital file number for the record, Judge.
Okay, very good. And is that, turn around, Mr. Gentz.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure that's the sign you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, go ahead.
Judge, that'd be one for the post-conviction people's.
Number one, it shall be.
Okay.
For the receiver. Cut the lights on. Go ahead, Mr.
And
Ambrose.
you're saying, what your testimony is that Jane Bashara, I see the golf clubs there, and who was the, can you put that back? Next to the Rotary sign is some golf clubs, is that correct, Mr.?
That's correct.
Zoom in for me, please, Mr. Muscat, please.
Mr. Hindelang will take care of it, Judge.
Okay. A little bit more. Zoom in. Are those the golf clubs you're talking about?
There was more than that. That's part of it, yes, because she wanted everything to go to Lockmore Country Club.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's part of the golf clubs. There was like 5 sets of golf clubs or
When
something.
you say sets, was it 5 bags?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, not just 5 clubs, 5 bags.
5 bags, yeah, just like that one.
Okay. And how many of those wheel signs?
I believe there was 2, maybe 3. I don't know for sure, but I know there was at least 2.
Did he just want the golf clubs to go to Lockmore, or what, did Jane Bashara just want the golf clubs to go to Lockmore, or everything to go to Lockmore?
She wanted the golf clubs to Lockmore Country Club. And she wanted the boxes go to some kind of storage unit or some kind of place where he stores his stuff.
All right, so this conversation, so what happens after that?
What do you mean what happens
Well,
after that?
They get into an argument, you said?
They got into an argument, yes.
All right.
And I was in the middle, yes. He pulls a gun at me and says,
Hold
shut
on.
her up.
Let me step. What kind of gun was it?
Hell should I know what kind of gun? It doesn't matter.
Well, doesn't-
My life was a matter.
Move on if he doesn't know.
Your Honor, can I refresh the witness's recollection?
Go ahead. Wait a minute. No, you can't because it doesn't need to be refreshed. He indicated he didn't know what kind of gun it was. And you can ask another question.
You gave an interview with the Grosse Pointe Park Police Department on January 31st, 2012. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And in that, you state that you tell the police that Bob Bashara held a gun up to you. Is that correct?
That's correct. He did.
All right. And you described that gun as being an automatic. Is that correct?
If I'm not, I think so. I think maybe. I don't know. I mean, I was scared for my life anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Well, it kind of does matter. Can you describe the gun?
If you remember. If you don't remember, say you don't remember.
I don't remember it.
Move on.
So, he's holding a gun up to you, and then what happens?
He pulls it. I mean, what do you want? He was standing behind a vehicle. I couldn't go nowhere.
What kind of vehicle?
It was a Mercedes Benz. It was in the garage. Garage door was shut. There was only 3 of us in the garage, except for God.
And then at that point, he's stating that that Robert Bashara is going to pay you $8,000.
No, after she was dead. I mean, after we loaded up her body in the vehicle, And it was after he pulled the breast. I mean, her breast was showing after she was still dead. I mean, she was bleeding. There was blood on the garage floor. I know what he said to her. I know what they said.
What did he say to her?
She goes, after her breast was open, I mean, she's laying on the ground on the garage floor. He goes over to her after she was dead. He goes over to her and pulls it back out and says, "Baby, I'm sorry, I don't mean it."
What did he do with her breasts?
He covering them back up.
With what?
I mean, she had a top on. She had a green top.
Okay, a green top.
I mean, it was a sweater. I'll be honest with you. She had black slacks on, too. And he had a brown jacket on. He had brown shoes. I could tell you everything, what we had.
Well, tell us.
Well, Your Honor,
Oh, tell us.
I had a brown leather jacket. I had a black pair of pants. I think I had a hoodie. I ain't quite sure. I'm pretty sure I had my hoodie on with my...
Let me ask this question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever move the bags out of that garage?
No, ma'am. We never got anything out of the garage except we loaded up her body in the vehicle.
Who was we?
Me and Bob.
You said that she had a sweater and pants on, is that correct?
She had slacks. Yeah, she had a sweater on.
When you put her in the vehicle, did she have any other clothes on? The same clothes on?
She had... Repeat that again?
When you put her in the truck, did she have the same clothes on
Yes, ma'am.
or different clothes on?
She had the same.
She didn't have a coat on?
I'm pretty sure she had a coat.
How did she have a coat on?
Because she walked out in the garage. I mean...
Oh, she had a coat on when she was in the garage?
Yes, ma'am. She had a coat on, yes.
She had a coat on, and she had a green sweater on and black pants?
That's correct. And she had her slippers.
She had her slippers on?
Mm-hmm.
So you said that your testimony is that you and Robert Bashara loaded up the Jane Bashara's body into the car. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. And then what happened?
Then he threatened me. Then he goes, "If you ever say anything, I will kill you, and you will be followed," which I was followed.
Okay, now...
After he opened up the garage, after we loaded up her body, he took everything. He took all the evidence, I mean, all her purse and everything, and started throwing it around in the vehicle of the Mercedes-Benz.
Throwing her purse around, what do you mean?
Okay, how can I describe this? He took all the contents and everything, her wallet, and starts throwing stuff out, just throw it in the vehicle.
Okay.
He emptied out the purse. I mean, he just throws her cards and everything all over the place.
Okay.
Her cell phone and everything. I mean, I can tell you where the cell phone was. It was on the floorboard of the vehicle.
Front or back?
It was in the front.
Driver seat or passenger seat?
Passenger.
Who drove her to that location?
I did.
Miss Lindsay, that is so disruptive. I'm trying to listen.
I'm sorry,
You know what I'm saying? Please.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead now. What'd you say? You drove her there?
Yes, ma'am.
Where'd you drive her to?
I drove her from Sixth to Anmont. I think that's what you say.
Is that
Annette.
it?
Annette.
And is that Detroit?
And yes, in Detroit. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
In the alley.
In the alley?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
And you were being followed there by Robert Bashara, is that correct?
No,
No?
Where was Robert Bashara?
I have no clue.
Was he in the car with you?
No, ma'am.
So how did he dump her, the contents of her?
He did it when he walked back after she was loaded up in the vehicle. He went to the house and grabbed her purse and started throwing stuff over the place.
Okay, so you didn't leave yet.
No, we haven't left yet, no.
So he went, you load the body up,
We loaded in the back seat, yes.
and then he goes.
He had the head of her. He had the head of her, and I had the feet of her
And where did you put the body?
in the back seat
Of what?
of her Mercedes.
And what happened with the purse?
The purse, he starts throwing it around. I don't
Where
know.
did he get the purse from?
From inside the house.
And he brought the purse out.
And he brought it into the garage, yes.
And then he started dumping it around in the car.
Yes, ma'am. He starts throwing the credit cards and everything. I don't,
Okay. And then you said the cell phone was on the floor in the front seat, right?
that's correct.
And so then what happens? Then when do you leave?
After he shuts after he shuts the door, he walks out, he took off.
How did he take off?
No, wait a minute. He got in his Lincoln Navigator, and he goes, before all that, he goes, you get a ring, you get $10,000, and you get a Cadillac. And I'm like, and that's after she was dead, laying out. And this is when she was on, I helped him load up the body. That's when he said this stuff to me.
And then he left in a Navigator?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Opens up the garage door. And then when I was pulling out, there was a silver car following me. And I lost it on Jefferson, and I went through Jefferson. I know I took some side streets and I lost it.
And so Bob never went with you driving?
No, ma'am. As far as I know, he probably...
Wait a minute. Did he leave in his Navigator?
Yes, ma'am.
What time of day or night was it?
It was at night. It was about... He wants me there at 6. She was already dead by 7:30.
How do you know it was 7:30, sir?
Because I know
How do you know?
the time on the car.
On what?
On a Mercedes.
What? The time what?
There was a clock saying it was 7:30. On the radio, whatever, it's displayed the time.
And again, Your Honor, I just want to make my objection is the idea here is whether there's newly discovered evidence to allow for a new trial in this particular case.
I know what it is.
I know that, Your Honor. And
Okay, and you're making your objections noted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Ambrose.
Now, at 7:30, you said you saw that on the Mercedes clock. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, is that while you're pulling out of the garage or on the way or when?
That's when I was pulling out into the street.
Okay. Now, so you were there from 6 o'clock until 7:30. Is that accurate?
That's right.
Okay, and Bob was there as well, from 6 o'clock to 7:30.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And now you had told you correct me if I'm wrong, but you had told the police that Robert Bashara followed you all the way to where the body was placed.
No, I did not say that.
You didn't say that.
No. As far as I know, no.
Can I refresh the witness's recollection?
Go ahead.
It's going to take me a little bit. The location that you went to, you were familiar with that. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Because your stepmother used to live there. Is that correct?
Around there, yes.
Your stepmother is Letty?
Yeah.
Letty Gentz?
Yeah.
And she's no longer with us. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
When did she pass away?
I don't recognize. I don't recall. I know it's a few years back. I don't recall. I can't remember my dad's passing. And I'm not saying anything else.
You okay, Mr. Gentz?
I think. I'm just,
You wanna stop for today? How much further do you have to go? I'm just saying, as far as your examination, do you foresee? Lengthy?
Yes. I mean,
Well, you know,
I don't,
what?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Do you foresee it's going to be protracted?
Yes.
In terms of Roach?
Oh, so you didn't do, oh, okay. I was very impressed for a minute.
Thank you.
This came after.
No, I know.
Wait a minute.
I think it's part of the record, it's an exhibit. Well,
The court had an opportunity to discuss this matter with sidebar, and I am in agreement.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, could you speak up, please? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
The court had an opportunity to have a sidebar conference with the attorneys in this particular matter. And the court, there was a supplemental brief that was filed, motion by Mr. Bashara's attorney indicating about the affidavit that Mr. Gentz made. The court believes that I'm going to give the attorney latitude to rehabilitate Mr. Gentz. That transcript is going to be prepared by Madam Stenographer forthwith. And the continued examination is only going to deal with the affidavit and your ability to rehabilitate him on the things that he has said in the affidavit and or to impeach him on the other areas. but I'm not gonna allow it to go any farther into other areas, because I think that it would be very protracted, and that is not the purpose of this particular hearing. So do you understand the parameters, Mr. Ambrose?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Madam Stenographer, how long do you think it would take to reproduce this? You could do it overnight? We could have it Monday. Okay. So she's indicated to me the transcript will be ready Monday. That's going to be the beginning and ending of where you can go when you're questioning Mr. Ambrose. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. And what, can we get another date, Madams? Madam and sir? You're available whenever you're ready. You wanna do it Monday? I mean, not Monday, the transcript won't be ready till Monday. What day you wanna come back?
I'm available right now any day other than the 3rd of May.
How about the 10th of May?
I'm available on the 10th.
I just have to move something else. I want this. Are you available, Mr. Ambrose?
Yes.
Wait a minute, hold on. Excuse me?
Oh, you're not here. Oh, if we can conclude on the 10th, because tech support will not be available other than I'm sorry.
We're at
Right.
a nerd convention. No, Judge.
Mr. Muscat.
We're not
and
available
Mr. Hemingway
after.
will not be available other than the 10th.
Well, the court is going to limit it to really just the rehabilitation and the impeachment of what has been thus stated. So we're not gonna go farther than that. And we have the benefit of the exam transcript. At the conclusion of this witness's testimony, I'm not gonna hear any more about this motion. I'm gonna give a date, or we're gonna wrap it up. I'm not gonna have any more presented. We have gone through, I've given this hearing excessive latitude, and it's time for the court to make a decision. And I want that done no later than the first or second week of June. So I'm just indicating for the record on the 10th, make yourselves available. That transcript will be ready of this proceeding Monday morning. The court is going to pay for it. And each party can have it ready, and then we will continue our examination on the 10th. The writs are canceled.
Oh, man, can I go back?
0. You're gonna stay here, and by the 10th, we will be able to release him. I'm not gonna have anything to do. I'm not gonna allow this testimony really to go forward more than a day. And I can't limit the people, but I'm just saying that's where we're going with this. Okay? What?
I just want to place on the record, Judge, People's Post-Conviction Exhibit 1 was also Trial Exhibit 168.
Okay, very good. Can I make a request, since we do know the parameters that we're going, that if there are any exhibits, visuals that we need to do, that we can maybe have them printed out as photos like we used to do back when the dinosaurs roamed the yard, and present them as such?
Yes, Judge.
Very good. Thank you.
Can I just make a statement as
What?
well? I'd like to move for admission of the.
Clearly, the court will have it marked in a minute.
And also, Your Honor, I'd like to have two interviews that Joseph Gentz had given to outfit called Crime Watch Daily. I'd like to have those ready and available. I could have them on
When did you do that?
He did that, I think back in late February or some part of March.
Do you have those clips?
What?
You want to take one?
Does he want me to play them for him? Is that what he said?
No, he doesn't have them.
Yeah,
No,
he
I do
does.
have them, Your Honor. It's just a matter of, I
You
think
got
for convenient purposes, if they can just, I've already showed them where they are.
Okay, you don't have a computer?
I can bring mine in, I guess.
I think that would be good. And they can't do everything for you. What?
Yeah, we have them just in case they're needed.
All right. We'll resolve that tech support stuff later. All right, we need to get this going. All right, very good. That concludes this matter.
Your Honor, did you establish a certain time you want to start this on the May 10th?
Yeah, 9:30.
All right.
Can I?
Are you available, Ms.
I
Irons?
am.
Are they going to put the Dateline video on?
What?
The Dateline.
Let's go.
Come on.
Take him out.
Just here.
Yeah, no problem.
That's the.
Bye.